Marhaba, kumusta, and Privyet, Ukraino. Hey, it's Tom from Green Shorts, and it's been a minute since I've worked on this camper build. When Trevor and I completed the 11th video of what was supposed to be a 12 video series, I made a list of what was yet to be done, and I think I've got 12 more videos. And that was a little bit overwhelming to think about how much was left to do. So the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And so today I'm gonna head in that direction by working on a tunktube roof rack that will serve two purposes. One, for storage of wet or damp items, and two, to support the solar panel. I've got a 50-watt solar panel here. It's gonna have a tilt-up mechanism to allow me to angle it toward the sun. That'll also allow the solar panel to be the lid on the roof rack. This whole camper build series has been graciously sponsored by tunktube. Tunktube is a pipe and connector system that will empower any DIY project. Tunktube has figured in most of the elements of this camper build: the frame, the kitchen slide out, the cots, and this roof rack is going to be the fourth element that features tunktube. What I think will make this one of the most interesting elements of this build so far is that this particular design, I think, could be applied to a lot of other projects. And for that reason, I'm going to be specific about the tunktube components that I'm going to use in this build. All right, let's get started. I'm going to use the dimensions of my solar panel to determine the dimensions of the roof rack. At the four corners, I'm going to be using H3 brackets. But I'm gonna need 8 of these because I'll have a bottom frame and a top frame, and I'll connect the corners with sections of the 1-inch powder coated pipe. The solar panel is gonna be connected with these brackets. Need 4 of those. And the top frame is going to hinge to the bottom frame. These are the H23 brackets, and they come with a plastic bushing that provides the hinge side. I'm gonna do 2 of these because it's only gonna hinge on one side. I chose these open corners because I am going to use a small section of the 1-inch pipe in the corners to provide a locking mechanism. Each corner will be capped with, this will provide a strapping point to allow me to tie things down to the top of the roof rack if I need to. And I'll need 4 of those. I'll put a list of all the parts I'm using in the description below. And a reminder that for your first order, tunktube is offering a 10% discount if you use the coupon code GREENSHORTS10. Of course, this will all be connected with the hex bolts that come with the tunktube brackets. Code inspector had to take a look first. I'm going to start out with a full 92-inch section of the black powder-coated pipe. That's the length that they ship in. I'm going to see how many of these I'm going to need to complete this. I'm guessing it's going to be 2. We'll see. So Trevor isn't able to help me with this video, and here's why. Yeah, that's a sling. You want to tell him what happened?
I broke my collarbone.
That's right, mountain biking. And if you'd like the full story on that, I'll put it at the end of the video.
Alright, now back to the build, Dad.
there are two lines on every tunktube bracket that shows the longest length and the shortest length that are ideal for the pipe to connect into the bracket. That gives me a 1/4 inch of play here to adjust. The solar panel's set and these brackets pushed onto the pipes. I'm going to secure them with the self-tapping screws. These are provided by tunktube as well, and they're a square drive. Alright, with the top frame done and this solar panel mounted inside it, I'm going to make a lower frame with the same dimensions. The bottom frame of the roof rack will attach to the top of the camper with the H15 bracket. Shorter hex that goes with this one. And perhaps the most elegant features of the tunktube system is that this channel on the back of the brackets has a square slot in it that holds the nut in place. So once the nut's there, you can hold it with a finger and you don't need to have a wrench on the back of the bracket. It's also essential because if this thing's tightened down, there's no way you can get to the back of the bracket. I'm going to cut a piece of the aluminum composite material to use as a floor in the roof rack. Measure twice, cut once. And now I'm going to use a 1-inch hole saw to perforate the floor using this grid. Drains here. I'm also going to notch out for the brackets. And now a quick cleanup of the sharp edges with some sandpaper. That was taking too long, so I pulled out the sander. You've probably picked up on the fact that I've got this whole set of battery-powered Ryobi tools. They're not a sponsor, but they come at a really accessible price point, and all the batteries are interchangeable. I've been slowly adding tools to my shop, and I've been really happy with them. If you're interested in checking out these tools, I'll put a link to them in the description below. The floor is going to fit in like this. This is perfectly functional just like this, but I'm going to hit it with some rubberized undercoating to clean it up a little bit. This has a 1-hour minimum dry time, so I'm actually going to let it sit overnight. Alright, this is nice and dry. Before I drill the bolt holes for the bottom here, I'm going to make sure that my top frame and bottom frame line up correctly. I'm good this way, but the bottom frame is about a 1/4 inch shorter in this dimension. I'm going to use small pieces of conduit inside the 1-inch powder coated pipe to help index this. Alright, now that this is lined up, I'm going to drill the holes to connect the floor. I probably should have indexed the 2 frames before I cut the floor, because now these cutouts for the brackets on the floor are a little bit too wide. But since I haven't locked these down yet, I'm just going to slide them down and put the floor in there. Obviously this roof rack is going to be installed on the roof of the camper, but I'm going to temporarily screw it down to this workspace so I can install the hinges and safely open and close it. When I do install it to the roof, I'm going to actually add some spacers underneath so it sits up off the roof a little bit. And I'm going to use some of the cleaner cutouts that I had from perforating the floor. With the bottom frame and floor secured, now I can install the hinges. These are the H23 hinge brackets, and they include this bushing that fits in the side that's got these slots in it. And that's the part that will hinge. The other side is fixed. Just pop that on. This is definitely a spot where it's going to be tricky to hold the nut on the back there. Just going to tape it into the groove there and see if that will hold. The 2 halves of the bracket connect like this, so it's important to make sure those are seated on both sides. With the hinges installed, now I can raise the solar panel. There's not going to be a lot of storage here, and I'm thinking this will primarily be for the tarps that could potentially be damp or wet after a trip. And I need to figure out how to route these cables so they're not impinging on anything in there either. But again, that gives me this extra little bit of storage on the roof of the camper for wet and damp gear, with the solar panel acting as the lid. It's also going to allow me to tilt this thing up to angle it to the sun when I'm at the campsite. The last thing I need to do is create some pins that come from the top bracket down into the bottom bracket here. I also want to make sure that the gap is set correctly to match the gap on the other side set by the hinges. I'm going to create the pin with a short piece of the 3/4 inch conduit, which of course fits inside the 1-inch powder coated pipe. And I'm going to secure that with a self-tapping screw through the side, also securing the cap at the same time. Now I just got to widen this gap just a little bit by sliding up the 1-inch pipe that's inside the bracket. Now I just need to repeat that step on the other corner. Last thing I need to do is install a latch to keep this thing closed. It's nearly impossible to get a self-tapping screw to go in where you want it to on this round pipe, so I'm going to pre-drill these holes. Measure twice, cut once. Normally this would be secured with 2 screws, but I've only got room for 1. In a future video, I'll be hooking up the solar panel to battery and charge controller and getting that whole system worked out. That needed its own video, and I need to learn a little bit more before I attempt that. Been doing some research. I haven't done solar setups before with battery power, so this is a first for me. I could have added some more storage space to this roof rack by simply adding another frame and raising it up, or adding more space between the frames and putting some kind of a basket inside it to add that volume. I was checking out the tunktube website and noticed that they have plans for a van roof rack, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. Of course, all their plans are free and they come with detailed part lists as well as measurements and all that. So definitely check out the website if you're curious about making your own roof rack. Alright, so there's the solar panel roof rack made from tunktube, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. What do you think, Trev?
Hey, it looks really good.
Thanks again to tunktube for sponsoring these videos, and a reminder to you that you can get 10% off your first order by using the coupon code GreenShorts10. I'll put a link in the description to get you to the website. A special thanks to our patrons and members for helping support this channel. We really do appreciate your vote of confidence. As always, our mission here at Green Shorts is to
help you see green so you can be green, and save a little green by doing it yourself.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday. You're excited about this, aren't you? This is what life is about.
No, the amount of times I've had to tell this story.
A few times. Well, the beauty of this is you can tell it once here, and then you can just tell your friends to go watch the YouTube video.
Are you shamelessly sponsoring your video?
Well, I don't know. So the purpose of this camper is that you and I can go mountain biking together. And we didn't wait for the camper to be done to go take a trip to North Carolina to a place called Burn Park, which was actually a bike park sponsored by Seth, who's a YouTuber. Or Burn Peak is his channel, and Burn Peak Express. So we've been watching them build this bike park, and so we finally got a chance to go check it out. First of all, it was a good day.
Yeah, we were riding out there for about 2 hours, and it was tiring, but it was really fun. We probably were doing it a little bit more than we could handle in terms of jump height and stuff, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah, I will say there were some things we did not do in terms of the double black diamond. The obstacles there were definitely beyond our capability.
There's no way.
But it wasn't on the jump trails that Trevor had his accident. It was actually where?
It was on the way back down after we were finished riding.
And that is, it's a more technical trail versus the jump trail, and it's not an easy trail. It's still pretty challenging. So set up the crash. What happened?
So I was riding down. It's a mountain. Like, we were riding down a mountain, and I go down this berm, and then it's straight into a jump, and I'm thinking, oh, I probably shouldn't brake here. I don't want to slide out, and I probably should have braked because I got launched off my bike.
Yeah, Trevor's bike landed kind of on the edge of the trail. His bike went downhill. It threw him back onto the trail. I was behind him, and I looked up, and I see Trevor rolling down the trail, and it happened so fast. Do you remember what happened?
I remember just tumbling and then landing like sat up and being out of breath.
You were sitting up. I rode up to you and said, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just stunned." And we didn't think anything was broken. I asked him, "Any sharp pain?" He said, "No." And so I just assumed it was fine. Out that you definitely were sore.
Yeah. I was definitely hurting, but I didn't feel like it was a break until we found out a week later.
Yeah, when you got your x-ray. And it was quite a break. It was not just a fracture, it was a
snapped it in half.
Snap. So yes, so Trevor had surgery to repair his collarbone.
I can still move my arms.
So you got the nerve block in.
Forward.
and he's also got something to make him a little bit loopy.
What was? Oh.
And that's your panic. Don't hit the panic button though.
I'm trying to fight the nerve blocking thingy they put in my arm. I can't. It used to be so easy, but now, after what they've done to me, I can't remember.
Can't remember anything?
No.
That's the idea behind anesthesia, is you don't remember anything. So you just basically woke up here and you were done?
Yeah.
And we're actually grateful that it wasn't worse.
Yeah.
So, but he's off the bike until spring, which is probably giving us enough time to finish the camper build. What do you think?
Hopefully.
Think that's a good goal?
Yeah.
So we do have a fair bit more to go here. And I think the next video is going to be the skin. I've got to get to that. Thanks for sticking around for the story. And I'm grateful that my son wasn't hurt more. It was definitely a good lesson learned, perhaps,
Yeah.
that we need to get you a full suspension bike and a full face helmet and maybe some body armor.
Body armor, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what they
Maybe
wear.
some pads.
Yeah, the question is, how soon will I break my collarbone?
Well,
let's hope not.
Hopefully, never.
Hey, thanks for sticking around, and thank you for your encouragement and support of this channel in the comments. I know those of you who watch to the end, because you're always interacting here, and I feel like we're a big family. So thanks for watching and supporting this project, and we'll see you next Saturday.
See ya.